Hey guys, welcome back to Table Torque. The reason Ermes lost to Levan wasn't because he was weak. Ermes is insanely strong everywhere. Every possibility I looked at for Ermes to win this match seemed on point. But Levan simply overpowered everything. It was a bit foolish to predict Ermes winning based on his lifts, especially because we didn't have Levan doing the same lifts, and their hand anatomy is completely different. I was seriously rooting for Ermes to win this match. Just imagine a 67 kg riser getting crushed like that. That alone shows how insanely strong Levan's riser is. Devon has always emphasized the importance of the riser lift.
The first time I pull Levan, I realized there's no point even trying unless this is crazy strong. Like if you don't have like a ton of it, you're not even in the match. So I spent like a long time just singles getting this super strong, right? So I thought, okay, this is going to get me in the match. I'll get in the match with just this ability to handle some of his hand because it's so much. And I basically did that. That's the main thing I did. I did pronation as well, but those two things, this rise was really what I thought was so important.
In his prep, he always says it's about height, and it's never enough. And Devon was right. It was never enough. The only round Devon was able to take Levan's riser away was the first. In all the following rounds, Levan blew through Devon's rise and did the same to Ermes. Devon's riser might not be as strong as Ermes's, but his pronation is. What helped Devon stop Levan in that initial round was the combination of rise and pronation. But Ermes's pronation wasn't able to support his rise the same way. Still, that alone isn't why Ermes lost every round. It's Levan's hand. It's enormous. Sure, Sabin did beat Levan in the past despite having a smaller hand, and I mentioned that in my prediction video. But things have changed. Levan now is way stronger than any past version of himself. Stronger than the version that faced Vitaly, Devon, or Dave. One important thing to mention is Levan's setup. It was perfect. Levan actually does exactly what Devon always talks about. Remember when Devon was teaching Brian Shaw the golden rules of setting up? People said Devon was too advanced for Brian and that Brian needed to learn the basics first. But Devon was teaching the basics. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to grasp that. The key is always to supinate and rise through the setup. No smart puller will pronate in the setup without a supinated rise when going for a top roll. I mean, for the posting style. It simply won't give the same result. Supinating while rising helps secure your wrist by allowing your pinky to gain maximum coverage on your opponent's hand. It also shuts down their pronator, putting them in an awkward position right from the setup and giving you access to attack their high fingers. But let's be clear, having a strong rise doesn't mean it will always help you. It depends on the grip and the position. There are situations in a match where the strength you feel during training just isn't accessible. Ermes, for example, has smaller fingers compared to Levan, Vitaly, Devon, and Kurdacia, and that creates a disadvantage. Ermes often trains the riser lift with a closed fist, but in an actual match, the grip is different. It's more open. Compare this to someone like Lalatin, whose hand is long but not as wide or thick as Levan's. That's why Lalatin doesn't give Ermes the same level of difficulty. But Lalatin gave Levan a bit of trouble because his fingers are long enough to cover Levan's entire thumb pad, allowing him to get a proper grip. When two high knuckle top rollers face off, the goal is to attack the opponent's rise while also containing it using your primary fingers, mainly the index and middle finger. Even in the rounds where Devon got pinned by Levan, you could see Devon was cracking Levan's wrist. It was Devon's rise assisting his pronation that allowed him to do that. His high fingers helped hold off Levan's rise in several rounds. Not all, as he did get overwhelmed in some. But in the rounds where he managed to hang in, it was that high finger containment that helped. What made Devon's high fingers so strong? The multi-spinner. I've mentioned this in a video. Devon's cupping strength has improved massively over time. And one reason is that the high cup multi-spinner curls builds your index and middle fingers in both cupping and rising strength, especially for high hand setups. Ermes's cup is elite, no doubt, But it's not super elite like Devon's or Levan's. When looking at the grip, Ermes isn't able to fully close his wrist. He can't fully apply his riser. On the other hand, Levan has a very comfortable grip. His hand fully covers Ermes's wrist, allowing him to access and transfer his entire rising power directly into Ermes's hand. I'll show you a tool I designed for myself around 2 years ago to train my rise, specifically for facing big-handed opponents. I don't have it with me right now because I moved away from my studies, but here's how I made it. There was a guy in our club who was about 6'3" with a very thick hand, and I used to arm wrestle with him. The grip I made for this wooden tool mimicked exactly how it felt gripping his hand. The setup had 3 straps, 2 on each side of the knuckles, and 1 that went across my thumb pad to resist my rotation. So I had to maintain my rise while gripping a big hand, resisting being cupped, and at the same time locking the rise and lifting it. One important note, this lift doesn't target the primary fingers, the index and middle, which are essential for holding the opponent's rise, but it helps you access your rise against a big hand. I used it for around a year, and my hand got a lot better since then. It was hard to see Ermes lose like that. Devon has already gone through it twice, and now Vitaly is about to experience it for the second time. Let's see. That's all for today. See you later.